Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm going to show you how I make my cherry bomb soap cupcakes. It calls for 2 layers of piping in 2 different colors and a different color base. So this is a bit technical, but this is a very popular soap in my lineup, and I sell out of them every time that I make them. So I thought that you'd be interested in watching to see how these are made. All of my soap cupcakes have castor oil, coconut oil, olive oil, and palm oil. It's a pretty basic recipe, but I find that it works very well for piping. And I also get lots of bubbles, which I like in my soap cupcakes. That being said, I use the black cherry bomb fragrance oil from Nature's Garden. It smells so good, you guys. I think that's one of the reasons why this is such a good top seller for me, is it just smells like something from your childhood. Black cherry bomb, very authentic. It doesn't accelerate trace. It does not discolor. I'm going to be using a really red mica from Nurture Soap Supply for the bases of my soap cupcakes. I'm going to be using New Leaf mica for the green part of my soap cupcakes, and titanium dioxide for the top. And then I've made some cute little embeds out of melt and pour soap and red lab color to put on the top of my cupcakes. Okay, hopefully these will be a good seller for Valentine's Day coming up here soon. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pour in my lye water and get started. My soap cupcake recipe sets up quickly, which I like because I don't like waiting a long time for my piping to set up. But because of that, you should be careful what kind of fragrance oil you use, because if you use one that accelerates, it will move actually too quickly. So just try to make sure, if you're using a recipe that sets up quickly for your soap cupcakes or any type of piping, that you are not using a fragrance oil that accelerates, because you will have a problem with getting them in before they set up too quickly. So I'm only going to blend to a very light trace. Before I split it off. I'll give you some other tips and tricks for cupcakes too along the way that I have found as I go here. So that's it, just to emulsification. I'm not even going to trace. So I'm stopping here. I need to weigh off 2.5 pounds to go into my bases. This should fill up 1 dozen soap cupcakes. So I'm going to go over to my scale for a minute and fill up my bases really fast over here on my scale. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to go ahead and put in my really red mica and get ready to pour my bases here. I got this cute little scoop from Nurture Soap the last time that I ordered a bunch of colorants from them, and I think it's awesome. It's got a teaspoon on one side and a tablespoon on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and use my tablespoon side or my teaspoon side and give myself this is 2.5 pounds. I'm going to give myself 2 teaspoons, maybe closer to about 3. I like a deep red color on the bases of my cupcakes. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here before I mix that up so that I'm all ready. I always use a cookie sheet. It's easier to transport the cupcakes around. This is an old cookie sheet I don't use for baking anymore. And I use the silicone cupcake liners. I picked these up at Walmart. I don't know the brand. It's actually not on here, but I've had them for a while. And they work very well. They're thin and they peel right off of the cupcakes. And they also don't have that fill line that a lot of the silicone molds have. A lot of them have a fill line right here for actual baking, so when you use it, with soap, it actually leaves a little indent across the whole base of the soap cupcake. So I prefer, I can't remember which brand it is, you guys, but it's whatever kind they have at Walmart in the baking section with no fill line. Okay, so there is my, that's what I'm gonna do for my bases. So I'm set those aside so I can mix my color. Okay, before I get that all mixed in, oh, that's a gorgeous red right there. I'm gonna go ahead and put in some of, I know I only have a little bit of this fragrance oil left, so I am not gonna pre-measure because I already know that it's enough to do the rest of my soap cupcakes here. Okay. I'm going to stop about there because I want it to be fluid enough for me to pour, but again, these do set up rather quickly once the fragrance gets in, which I, again, like when I'm doing soap cupcakes because I don't like waiting so long for my piping. So here are my silicone molds. I'm going to go ahead and just pour. I love that it's still liquidy enough that I pour it in and it's flat and I don't have to push anything down with a spoon. That's okay when that happens, but it's so much easier when it just pours right out into the mold perfectly. There's 9, 10, 11, 12, last one. There. I'd probably have enough if I scrape it out to put on another one, but not sure. Okay, so there's that. I'm just gonna put a little bit more off to the side here in this extra container. This really red mica from Nurture Soap Supply is the best red color I have ever used. It stays very red in cold processed soap, which is hard to do otherwise. I actually haven't found a way to do it by myself. Using their colorant for red has really been a game changer for me. So if you're looking for a very good red color, I would definitely recommend the really red mica powder from Nurture Soap Supply. And okay, so I'm gonna move my bases out of the way so I can mix up my piping. I have 2 different types of piping for this recipe. I'll be right back because I do need to clean off my stick blender. It has all the red on it. Okay, I'm back and I'm gonna go ahead and split the remainder of this into 2 containers evenly to show you how I do the piping for these. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put these evenly. I want the bottoms and the tops of my cupcakes to be the same amount. So I need to get the cup. Here we go. Okay. I'm at about a cup, almost 2 cups. And then when I scrape this in here, I'll get 2 cups in here as well. A little bit more, just about 2.5. Excuse me while I scrape every last little drip out of my bowl here. Okay. Okay, the next layer on my soap cupcakes is going to be green. This new leaf green here. I'm going to go ahead and add it in. I like it to be bright, so I'm going to put 3 about teaspoons and a little more fragrance. And then that last bit of fragrance will go for the top. Just a little bit more in there. Okay. When I do my soap cupcakes, another thing that I do is I don't put all the colorant into all the separate parts and all the fragrance into all separate parts at the same time. I do it separately, that way my batter doesn't set up too quickly. Okay, there's that. I actually think I'm going to add a little bit more green in there. Just a little. And then you wait for this to set up to pipe. See how that's getting nice and thick? Okay. Let that be for a minute. It's going to be scoopable and ready to pipe very soon. Okay, here's the consistency. It's still a little bit thin. I'm going to go ahead and show you the bag before I fill it up, and then I'm going to fill it up and bring you back. This is a giant piping tip, guys. I think it's a Tico brand, but it looks like a star on the top. That is what I'm going to use for the green. And this piping bag is a reusable one that I got from the Smart and Final that's in my area. It's a store called Smart and Final. So it has a waxed inside. They haven't broken down yet. They're working really well. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up this bag, and I'll bring you right back for the piping. I got my piping bag filled up, and these are hard enough to start piping on. I do spray these down with rubbing alcohol because it does help with the adhesion of the next layer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this is all I'm going to do with this tip. I'm going to go over here. You kind of lay it sideways, and you go around one time. Little dollop in the middle. This is the first layer. This piping consistency is perfect. Okay, it's gonna take a second to scrape down my green. I just use a spatula, kind of scrape down my piping on the outside of the bag. Okay, once that white gets on, you won't notice any imperfections with the green. Perfect, so that filled up exactly 12. I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze the rest of this little bit of green onto the 13th one. That'll probably end up being a scrap for my house. A scrap soap. Okay, here's the last bit of soap that I'm gonna be putting my white titanium dioxide along with the rest of that cherry balm soap fragrance. And it is starting to set up, but again, it's all ready to be piped on top of that green already. So you just have to learn how to work fast. If you do use a recipe similar to mine where the soap sets up, here we go. Here's the rest of that cherry balm. And I'm gonna stick blend. Okay, the titanium dioxide is mixed with water, so this is a little bit looser now that there's a little bit of water incorporated into it, but it also won't take long for this to thicken up with the fragrance and the titanium dioxide. Okay, I'll bring you right back when this is thick enough to pipe. Okay, my last layer of piping is ready to pipe, and it's got the rest of the white in this piping bag. That's the third layer here. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this top layer with rubbing alcohol one more time. That ought to do it. And then I'm gonna come around. Super cute. I've made this one over and over again, and I just still, every time I make it, I just still love it. This tip is a smaller tip that has, I'll just show you. I never remember the names or the styles, but it's like that, kind of closed, smaller than the one that I used for the base. Okay, so I have 3 more to pipe, so I'm going to scrape my bag down a little bit, make sure I'm getting all the white off the sides. I just have to put the indents on. And scrape one more time just to get all the last little bit of goodness off the sides. This is where you tend to get little air pockets. So I'm trying really hard to make this one as perfect as the others. Okay, that pretty much does it. I wonder if I can add a little bit more over here. If I squeeze, there we go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and top these with glitter. And as my battery's dying, I'm just going to tell you that is the making of Cherry Bomb Soap Cupcakes. Stay tuned for the unmolding. Hi everybody, I'm back to unmold some of these soapy cupcakes. And I just love how they turned out. They smell really good. So I just pull a corner here and then grab the top and slide it all the way off. I'll unmold a few more for you. Don't forget to look for these on my website. Release date for these will be January 20th. So look forward to these in the new year. See you in the next video.